Hi, and thank you so much for popping by. My name is Dr. Rita Pobaluzzi, and you're most welcome to this conversation today. Before I get right into it, I just want to say thank you to all of you who've been commenting, liking, subscribing to the channel. I absolutely appreciate your feedback, and I'm very grateful for your support. Um, on my mind today is the topic of economic diversification. The reason I'm talking about this is because President Boko recently launched his own economic diversification drive, and some of the intentions that he has, or the strategies that he hopes to implement in order to reduce Botswana's dependency on diamonds, or specifically on diamond mining. What I really want to emphasize and reinforce is that in the case of Botswana, it's never been about the lack of innovative thinking or the lack of innovative ideas. I think what is really popping up for me as I'm reading more on these economic diversification drives from 2008 all the way now to 2025 is the lack of political will to follow through and actually see through these wonderful ideas. So that would be the key thing for me, to say, will they follow through enough to see the fruits of these innovative ideas that have always been there? And if you look at the strategies, they're pretty much similar. All of these strategies to make sure that the country can actually work towards diversifying and maximizing on these other sectors, specifically in the private sector, to make sure that the private sector is boosted so that it becomes robust enough such that we can reduce this dependency on the gross domestic product from diamond mining. So these are the common themes that have been coming across all these years. One of the other themes is to develop specifically sectors such as transportation, tourism, making Botswana a financial hub, making Botswana an investment hub. These are all strategies that have been coming through since the era of Dr. Festus Mogae till now in 2025. And I say this to say, the lack of innovative ideas has never been the problem for Botswana. So as I was reading these economic diversification strategies from 2008 and reflecting on the current strategy from 2025, I noticed that there's very key similarities in both of these strategies. One is that there was always the intention to learn from nations that have managed to be successful in creating economic diversification. For example, Dubai, Malaysia, Mauritius are some of the countries that were mentioned in the 2008 strategy that was developed by Dr. Festus Mogae. And so what I think is interesting is that for the 2025 strategy, the Botswana Economic Transformation Program, Malaysia is a key player from which the strategy was adopted from, in order to help to maximize on the private sector and to ensure that we can reduce the dependency on diamond revenue. So that I continue to read what the 2009 strategy said. Their experience of these particular countries confirms that meaningful economic diversification can be achieved within the estimated window of some 10 to 15 years. That is open to Botswana before revenue flows from existing diamond resources may start to diminish. So some of these countries indeed succeeded from an economic starting point significantly less favorable than that of Botswana. So these are countries that had a starting point that was even worse than Botswana's current scenario. So the question is, why has Botswana not been able to diversify? And I say this again, I think one of the key issues is the lack of political will, not because there have been a lack of innovative ideas. And political will includes not just empowering the human resources, but also supporting in the financial aspect. Things obviously that really affect any bright ideas, that really hinder innovative and inclusive participation in the economy, is corruption, right? There are so many corruption cases that really show you that although the intentions are good, they don't always give the appropriate outcomes. And I continue to read some of the things that need to happen in order for the strategies to work. It says here, government needs to enhance the principle of openness. This is a prerequisite for success in today's globalized and highly competitive world. There also needs to be a general preparedness by the respective governments to launch not only highly focused, outward-looking principles in order to leapfrog other countries in the region, but even more importantly, a firm commitment to translate such policies into action. Yeah, this has always been an issue for me. I've been in so many settings where the policies are amazing. They are written so well. They've been benchmarked from everywhere. They have literally tried to localize these policies. But guess what? The policy sits in the shelf somewhere and there's no action into it. So when the policy doesn't come alive, it's as good as dead. Most of the reference government's readiness to take a strong, determined, highly visible, and even audacious reform measures and to become lead investors in important projects. Government need to make systematic, determined efforts to upgrade the skills and capabilities of their workforces. In most instances, this was achieved by forging strong industrial and academic linkages. Right? Academia is key to any strategy because without the research, without the past connecting with the future, without the prediction of what may happen in the future, some of these programs will fall in the wayside. There needs to be creativity in exploring their respective geographical locations, identifying and creating champions for each major project or initiative to really showcase how it has worked, where it has worked. These beacons, these champions are very important. Creating an overall business climate highly conducive to private and foreign investment, focusing efforts in areas in which the various countries had created or could create comparative advantage or niche opportunities, creating a competent, motivated, flexible, responsive, and business-friendly public service, and internationally branding their countries in a highly effective way. So the strategy developed for Botswana has drawn from these experiences and adapted them to reflect and accommodate specific situations and specific considerations applicable to Botswana. And as I'm reading that, I'm looking at the current strategy, which was literally adopted for Botswana's context from Malaysia. So yeah, in essence, I think, as I've said, the problem has never been that Botswana lacks innovative thinking. The problem is that Botswana lacks the political will to follow through on these wonderful ideas. And if that political will be lacking in this current government, it means we will be talking about these wonderful strategies that were developed but were never followed through. Alrighty, my friend, I thank you so much for popping by. I hope you are having a lovely day where you are, but most importantly, I hope you're having a healthy day wherever you're watching me from. Bye.